Hey folks, it's John with Ozarks Backroads with you again. We're in the Ozarks Backroads garage. We're doing some of our winter maintenance projects, getting ready for the next riding season coming up next year. So today I've got a little issue with the rear tire on the Tiger. The tire doesn't, when you spin it, it doesn't roll true. It's kind of egg-shaped. It goes up and down. It's also got some left and right kick in it, but the up and down, at about 35 to 40 miles an hour, I can really feel that tire. It kind of gets in an oscillation with the suspension and you can feel it jumping up and down. And I've tried balancing the tire, and you really can't balance a tire that doesn't run true. If it's egg-shaped, at different speeds it would require different amounts of weight to balance it, so there's no way to balance a tire that doesn't run true. So today we're going to try to see if we can true this up. I've got the wheel off and on the balancing stand. You can see that it's got a little kick left and right in it. And then if we look over the top of the wheel, you can see the up and down, and that's really the issue that I'm trying to get rid of. We'll try to straighten up the left and right kick too while we're in here. So we'll get started here and see if we can true this wheel up and make it run not egg-shaped, make it run in a circle. So what we've done here, we've got our wheel mounted up in the balancer here, and I've got a screwdriver clamped up right next to the rim here just to check how much back and forth run out I'm getting. And you can see right there it comes in and touches, and then I get a big gap on this side. So I put a piece of tape here and I just marked it. This is kind of the center of where it sticks out where it runs out on this side, just to give me a reference so I'll know which way I need to go here when I go to tightening these spokes. All right, now here I've done the same thing on the edge of the rim to tell me how much out around it's running. It starts rubbing here, so the wheel is farther away from the center of the wheel here than it is on the other side. And I've marked that with a piece of tape, just showing that this is the high side of the wheel here. I think what I'm going to start with here, the rim, the left and right part of the rim where it's running, try to get it straight by pulling it's running out here to the right, so I'm going to tighten these spokes a little on this side, pull the rim back over, and get my wheel running where it's not going back and forth, where it's running straight. And then I'll check and see what effect that had on how the wheel's running up and down. And we'll address that second. So I've got my handy dandy spoke wrench here. These particular spokes on this Tiger 800 are 6 millimeter. Seems to be about the right size for these spokes. So this is about the center of the area that's coming out. I'm just going to check the spokes on the opposite side over here that are on the left side. These are the ones I'm going to tighten to pull that rim back over to the left. I want to see if any of them are dead, if they're really loose. Okay, that one right there, you can hear it. Pretty dead. That one's better. That's real good. That one's dead too. Another dead one. 2 dead ones there. So I've got some dead spokes on the other side here. And that one's dead. I'm just going to give each one of them about a half a turn and of these dead ones that are on the other side, and that should pull the rim back some. We'll see if it's enough just by livening those spokes back up. That may be all I need to do to straighten up the roll on the wheel. So we'll do that here. So we'll go and tighten these dead, here's the center of it. We'll tighten the ones that one's really dead. But we're screwing them onto the spoke to tighten them, so we're going to turn them this way. And I'm going to give this guy about that much. Nice and crisp now. Let's see. All right, that guy could use a little crank. I'll have to get him from the other side. It's still a little dead. That's better. That one is really dead. You can kind of feel these when they tighten up. After you do a few, you can feel when they get tight. All right, those are all live there. Let's give her a spin and see if it pulled our rim over any. Okay. Rim's running pretty true at this point. It took that bulge out of it. So now I'll move this to the edge of the rim and we'll check for up and down and see what we've done there. We may have helped it by tightening those loose spokes on top. It may have pulled this down a little bit where it was out. So I'm going to run it around. It's still just a smudge high. Far away, too far away here, just right in this area. So it's still down just a little bit. So I think what I'll do is just tighten these spokes right in this area here. Just give them a little, maybe another half a turn or a quarter of a turn each. Or maybe not even quite a quarter of a turn. But both sides, I don't want to shift the wheel left or right. I want to do both sides so it doesn't change the run out this way. But maybe just pull that rim up a little bit. Just put a little more pressure on the rim right in here. About that much, and then give this guy the same. Now let's see if it changed any run out up and down at all. All right, that's really good on the up and down. We've pretty well got that taken care of. Now I need to go back after I've got this fixed now. I need to go back and make sure I didn't induce run out this way again. So we'll just kind of take a look at that real quick. That is super close. I bet there isn't a few thousandths off there, maybe 3 thousandths off, back and forth. So I think I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead right here. That was pretty simple. That's kind of how you true a wheel up. You just gotta get it mounted up and check it and mark it and then work with it. I don't know if you can see this, but after I've got my wheel all straightened up, running true, I'm taking a look at the wear on this tire. And if you watch that go around, you'll see that the wear where the tire's starting to square off on top there, it gets wider and narrower and wider and narrower. The tire has worn unevenly from being run on a rim that's egg-shaped. It's not round. It's caused the tire to wear unevenly. And you'll notice when it gets on the narrow, where the wear gets narrower, there gets a little more crown in the center of the tire. So I may still feel that a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and run this tire. It's got a lot of tread left on it. I can probably get, 4,000 or 5,000 more miles out of this, at least 4,000 I'd say. Well, I'm not going to junk it. I'm going to go ahead and run it, and maybe it'll wear, now that the rim is actually round, it may start wearing a little better. It may straighten itself up somewhat. Before I mount my wheel back up, one of the things I always do whenever I have a wheel off of the bike, usually when I'm changing tires, I like to re-grease my wheel bearings. So I know that I've always got, my wheel bearings are serviced, and I'll get a lot more life out of them that way. So I'm going to pop the seal on this drive out right here, and then here's my wheel bearing. So I'm going to have to pop this retainer out of the way to get this seal off. Basically, I'm just going to pick this seal out, and I'll show you how I repack these bearings. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pick the seal on this bearing right here. Just take a little screwdriver and just ease it underneath that lip and pull that seal up. Take it off of there and it'll pop right out. That exposes my bearing. You can see this nearly new motorcycle, it's got all kinds of grease in it. But I'm going to go ahead and pack a little in there while I'm at it anyhow. And then I'll do it again the next time I change tires. So basically on wheel bearings, you can just pack the grease down with your finger in around the bearings. Get it all packed in around the bearing. Press it in. It gets harder to turn when you get a lot of grease packed in around it. You'll feel it there when you spin the inner race. So I'm just gonna pop my seal back in here. Push it down, make sure it snaps in all the way around. There it goes. That's a lot stiffer with all that grease in there. Pretty good indication I've got it packed in around the bearings good. All right, put my little retaining clip back on here. Here's another way you can do these wheel bearings. This is the way I usually do them. Is I'll go ahead and pull the little seal there like we did before, pick it out, and then I've drilled a very small hole right in the top. That's like a 1/64 of an inch or something like it. It's really small, but it's just big enough to get the needle of the grease gun in there to pump the bearing full of grease. So you can see on this wheel bearing here, there's not quite as much grease as there was in that other one. It's still got grease in it, but it can use a packing. Get that snap back in. Make sure it's in all the way. And on this gun, I've got a needle installed. You can screw off the little end here that has the regular adapter to go over a grease cert and get you a needle at the parts store and screw it on. So when you pump grease out, it just comes out the end of that needle like that. So what I'll do now is put that needle right in that little bitty hole that I drilled and give her a squirt. Then kind of roll my bearing a little bit and squirt it in there as I roll it so that the bearings roll past where I'm putting grease in. It's getting hard to turn now. So when it fills up, you'll see it'll squirt out around the edges of the seal, around the inside here, and around the outside too, probably. But you see it coming up around the edge of the seal there and coming out. So I've got it full. That cavity in there is full, and I can feel that it's hard to turn. You don't want to keep pumping once it gets full. Just stop. Once you start seeing it come up, you need to stop, because you could possibly push the seal out of the other side. The pressure could. That right there is full. It's hard to turn. It's full of grease. That's the easiest way to repack a bearing. Once you pick the seal and drill it, you'll never have to mess with that seal again or take the circlip out here. This had a big clip on it I had to take out, holding the bearing in. I won't have to do that again. I can just, next time I want to repack it, my hole's there. It's not big enough to cause any issues. It's fine. That's a good way to do your bearings. That's usually the way I do mine. Well, folks, I appreciate y'all hanging with me. We've got quite a bit done on the Tiger here. We got our wheels straightened up and got our tire running true. Got our wheel bearings packed, cleaned our chain, and did some other cleaning while I was in there. So getting in pretty good shape on the back end anyhow. Invite y'all to come back. We got plenty of other projects to do this winter here in the Ozarks Backroads Garage. Until I catch up with you again, y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you later.